Good afternoon. Welcome to the Unfiltered Historian. I am paired here with Tim, and we are standing at a very special spot here at the Antietam National Battlefield. Particularly behind me is a monument that Tim and I haven't spent a lot of time with before, so this is a cool experience for the both of us. But Tim, what are we looking at here? Where are we at?
So this is a little hillock at the south end of what's known as Rohrbach Lane. You can see it running here, running up to what was known then as the Rohrbach Bridge. Today we know it by a different name. But the monument we're at is to the 11th Connecticut Volunteer Infantry, part of George Crook's brigade in the Kanawha Division of the 9th Army Corps under Cox, isn't it?
Wilcox, yeah.
Yeah, because Reno's killed the day before. But basically under Ambrose Burns.
Not Wilcox, right? Cox or Wilcox?
We'll come back to that.
We will come back to that one.
But basically, this is Burnside's sector of the battlefield. He is nominally a wing commander, having 9th and 1st Corps. But down here, he's really in charge of his own corps, the 9th Army Corps, which was the same corps that he used in the North Carolina expedition earlier in 1862. So the 11th Connecticut is the first unit to really attempt Burnside Bridge. So they're going to come over this hillock. They're going to go down. Their left's going to be at the end of the Rohrbach Lane, right there. You can kind of see the gap in there. And it's going to stretch to just short of the bridge. And they're going to be engaged, if you want to follow me over this way.
Follow their steps, too.
If you look at what they're dealing with, there's a reason that the Confederates were able to hold this area with 400 guys. They have commanding positions up on the bluffs here in the pits above the bridge from an old quarry. You don't need a lot of guys to defend this. Plus, you've got what we would call a choke point, funnel point, that is the bridge, not to mention the funnel point going through the lane. So Connecticut boys are going to come down this hill. We're going to follow a trail. They wouldn't have had to do that.
That really is.
So we're going to follow this through to the end of the lane. Now, if you've ever been here in summer, I actually thought the lane went a lot further than it does, but it only goes about 150, 200 yards down to this location. The 9th Corps is going to try to cross the Antietam Creek at 2 locations. The other location, they're going to send a division down this way and try to find Snavely's Ford and then head up the bluffs from the south. And ultimately they will get across, but that isn't going to factor into forcing the Confederates from this position. This position will finally ultimately be taken by storm. Correct. So 51st Connecticut under under Crook will come over here. As seen in the bas relief, one of the company commanders is actually going to come right up here and start trying to cross the creek, and he's going to actually be killed in the creek. The rest of the unit's going to fan out this direction towards the bridge and start trying to engage the Confederates over here. And you can kind of make up there, if you take a look, you can maybe see the fence up there. That is the Georgians Overlook, what we call it. So Confederates have a commanding position. This is, in military terminology, we call this plunging fire, because they're just able to shoot straight down into the Connecticut men as they're here. So just devastating fire. They take about 150 casualties and are then forced to fall back up to the other side of the spur. Other units will try, and it will take hours ultimately for the 9th Corps troops to get across. We can narrate. Let's walk down a little bit further. All right. So ultimately, the attack that will succeed, as you may guess, for those that are trying to assault running down this lane, you can imagine the effect on the morale as you're running down here, like portions of the 11th Connecticut did. Their colonel's going to be wounded not far from the bridge. Just being shot at from the side without really being able to inflict damage back on the Confederates, it would just be demoralizing. So it's understandable why the attacks fail. Ultimately, the attack that succeeds will be from the shortest distance. The 251st, the 51st New York and the 51st Pennsylvania will attack straight down the hillside here and will take positions both on the fence and on the stone wall on the other side of the bridge and start engaging Confederates with fire. They'll have some semblance of cover, less so from the fence, more so from the stone wall. And then ultimately they decide to rush the bridge. There's a story about, being promised a whiskey ration if they take the bridge and so on and so forth. Whether that's true or apocryphal, I guess it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it really much like there is a parallel in military history for those, that we read more widely. Kind of like this is led by the enlisted men of the regiments. They're basically saying, well, we're done with this. We're going to get up and go. They exit the fence, rush onto the bridge, storm across the bridge and up the heights.
That's right.
And that unhinges the Confederate position up on that hill. Who held the Confederates? Toombs. Robert Toombs.
Yep.
Georgians will be unhinged. That basically clears the section of the battlefield. Problem is it then takes Burnside and his men hours to get the rest of the corps across, get the wagons, get the resupply ammunition, reorganize units that have been broke. By that point, the Confederates have yet another card to play. Much as Robert E. Lee has done the whole day, he's able to shift troops. And this one, he doesn't so much shift troops as he gets reinforcements from A.P. Hill. Who will then launch an attack that basically hits the left flank of Burnside's men, forcing them back to the bridge, not across the bridge, but to the sector where they're ultimately able to hold, and that ends the fighting really here at Antietam. Back to Tyler for any comments that he may have.
Sure. So we're going to go ahead and walk this way towards the bridge. I want to show you guys one of our witnesses that we have here. I'm sure anybody that comes to Antietam or talks about Antietam knows very well what we're about to do. Go up and show you guys as we cross this bridge here. But that is the witness tree you are looking at just ahead of me here. Now, it's thankfully the park has put a fence around it to kind of stop some of the folks from taking bark from it, which you can still see some of the damages there. Let's walk up on the bridge here. Here she is. This could perhaps be one of the most famous sites on any of the Civil War battlefields we have here in the country, looking at a tree that had bore witness to this battle. And at the time, you can see a picture from across the bridge that was taken, and it is very, very small in the picture. And today, obviously, we have a sizable tree out of that. But I'm sure you've heard the story of trees could talk. This had a hell of a story to tell. But here we are currently standing on the bridge. And Darren, if you want to walk with me across, we can show them what it's like to walk across the bridge without anybody on it. Anything going through your mind right now, sir?
Yeah, quite a lot.
What you got? What you imagining? What are you feeling as you're walking this?
I don't know. It's just crazy. Can't really describe it at the moment.
That's okay. Sometimes words are something we don't use for this. And sometimes
I'm lost for words, actually. Let's put it that way.
And rightfully so. We'll go ahead and jump back in really quickly just to remind you guys, or to thank you guys for tuning in to our surprise Antietam episode today. We had quite a few spots. We want to thank Tim so much for coming on here and helping to lead this today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and engaging with the Unfiltered Historian this week. Darren, thank you so much for everything you've brought this week and everything you've been able to do. It's been tremendous, and we look forward to more content from you guys. We look forward to some recaps of what's happened this week on some of our live restreams with everybody. So Without further ado, we want to end this today, and thank you guys for everything you do. We'll see you soon.